Have you ever looked at something 100 times, only to see it for the first time? A detail hidden in plain sight that changes the entire story. Our world is filled with such secrets, but perhaps none are more profound, more tantalizing, than those left behind by the master of secrets himself, Leonardo da Vinci. We know the name. We know the face of the Mona Lisa, the divine reach in the Last Supper. We think of him as a painter, but Leonardo was something more. He was an anatomist, an engineer, a musician, a cartographer, a man whose curiosity was so boundless, it could not be contained by a single lifetime or a single canvas. His notebooks are filled with flying machines, war devices, and studies of the human heart, centuries ahead of their time. And it is this Leonardo, the restless, obsessive genius, who haunts his own masterpieces. Because for every work he completed, he left a dozen more unfinished. These aren't failures. They are whispers of a mind wrestling with concepts too vast for the art of his day. And tonight, our journey takes us to the heart of the Renaissance, to Florence, to uncover a secret in one of his greatest unfinished works. A secret held in a single, almost invisible brushstroke. To understand the secret, we must first walk the streets of 15th century Florence. Imagine it. This isn't a quiet museum city. It is a crucible of ambition. The air hums with the chisels of sculptors and the arguments of philosophers. The Medici family, bankers to popes and patrons of genius, hold the city in their velvet grip. Money, power, and art are woven together in a complex, beautiful, and often dangerous tapestry. Here, artists are not gentle souls and quiet addicts. They are titans locked in fierce competition. A young, brash Michelangelo is carving his David, defying all convention. Raphael is charming patrons with his serene Madonnas. And then there is Leonardo, older, more established, but always an outsider. He runs a workshop, a bottega, that is as much a laboratory as it is a studio. Apprentices mix pigments alongside attempts to build perpetual motion machines. It is a place of organized chaos, of radical ideas. And in 1481, Leonardo receives a major commission from the monks of San Donato Escopido. It is to be a grand altarpiece, a scene of the adoration of the Magi. For a man of Leonardo's ambition, this was a chance to create his defining statement of faith and art. He began with a flurry of creative energy. And this is what he left behind: the Adoration of the Magi. At first glance, it is a bewildering storm of activity, a swirling vortex of over 60 figures, human and animal, all crowded around the calm center of the Virgin and Child. The traditional, peaceful nativity scene is gone. In its place, Leonardo gives us a raw, almost primal, human reaction to the divine. Scholars, pagans, and horsemen writhe in a state of spiritual turmoil. Look closer. In the background, a grand staircase leads to nowhere, classical architecture lies in ruins, and a violent battle rages on horseback. What is Leonardo telling us? That the birth of Christ did not bring peace, but a psychological earthquake? That the old pagan world must crumble to make way for the new? The questions are as numerous as the figures in the painting. And then, after pouring all of this revolutionary fervor onto the wooden panel, he stopped. A year into the work, he accepted an offer from the Duke of Milan and left Florence, leaving the Adoration as a ghostly underpainting, a complex skeleton of brown ink and lead white. For centuries, it was seen as a magnificent failure. But what if it wasn't a failure? What if it was a deliberate pause, a message left in a bottle for a future that could understand it? Let's travel forward in time, to our era. Art historians are no longer equipped with just a magnifying glass. They have technology Leonardo himself would have marveled at. Infrared reflectography, a way to see through layers of paint to the original sketches beneath. Multispectral imaging, which can analyze pigments and reveal what the naked eye can never see. For years, they have scanned the Adoration, and they have found countless penamini. Changes of mind, ghosts of arms and heads that Leonardo drew and then abandoned. But recently, focusing on one of the most chaotic parts of the underdrawing, the crumbling ruins on the left-hand side, a team at the University of Florence found something else. Not a penamento, not a change of mind, but something that doesn't belong at all. It is infinitesimally small, rendered with the finest of brushes, and almost completely obscured by the designs around it. It is our hidden brushstroke. What they found was this: a faint, but unmistakable, drawing of a series of interlocking gears. A mechanical cog. It's hidden near the base of the ruined structure, almost as if it were a foundation stone. It has nothing to do with the biblical narrative. It is not religious iconography. It is a symbol from another world. The world of the engineer. The world of Leonardo's secret notebooks. Suddenly, the pieces click into place. Think of his notebooks, filled with designs for geared mechanisms, for his clocks, his automated machines, his attempts at a mechanical knight. The gear was the fundamental unit of his scientific imagination. It represented order, logic, the predictable universe of mechanics. And he has placed it here, at the foundation of a scene of divine revelation. This is not a doodle. It is a declaration. For Leonardo, the world of the spirit and the world of the machine were not separate. The awe felt by the Magi in the presence of the divine was governed by the same universal laws that turned a gear. The crumbling of the old pagan world wasn't just a theological event. It was a shift in the mechanics of history. He was painting the engine of God. And maybe, just maybe, he realized the world was not ready to see it. Leaving it unfinished wasn't an act of failure. It was an act of preservation. He was protecting his most profound idea, leaving it as a monochrome ghost, a puzzle for a future generation. A generation that would understand the language of both faith and physics. A generation like ours. The hidden brushstroke wasn't a mistake, it was an invitation. An invitation to look deeper. Our journey to Florence has led us here. To a single mark, no bigger than a thumbnail, that reframes a masterpiece. It transforms the adoration of the Magi from an unfinished painting into a philosophical manifesto. It confirms that Leonardo da Vinci's mind was even more integrated, more revolutionary than we ever imagined. The artist and the engineer were one. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we look at the great works of the past, what other secrets are waiting? What whispers from our ancestors are encoded in the canvases and stones around us, visible only to those who have learned how to look? Leonardo's hidden brushstroke proves that the greatest stories are not always the ones that are finished. Sometimes, they are the ones waiting to be discovered.